All right, y'all, so let's start out with 3.5. And that is systems of equations in 3 variables. And y'all, what I'm going to do before we do systems of 3 variables, I'm going to work systems of 2 variables. Let's start out with systems of 2 variables. All right, so things I can do when I have systems of 2 variables. My goal is to add my equations together and eliminate variables. So what we want to do, add 2 equations together. To eliminate one of the variables. If needed, we may have to change one or both of our equations. So if needed, we may have to change one or both of the equations by multiplication. And I'll show you an example of doing that. All right, so we've added them together. We eliminate one of the variables. At that point, we solve for the remaining variable. Once we know what that remaining variable is, we're going to back substitute. So back substitute into one of the original equations to find the other variable. And then y'all write the answer as an ordered pair. So that'll be an X and a Y. Make that Y look more Y. Now, the main thing you got to make sure is make sure the equations are in the right order. So make sure the equations are in the right order. So all the X's are in the first column, all the Y's are in the second column, okay? All right, then else, since these are equations, you can check the answer as needed. So we should be able to take either one of these 2 equations, plug our X and Y values in, and make that a true statement. You know, on my example, you'll see me doing that, okay? So remember, to eliminate variables, we add the equations together. That way, we'll eliminate a variable. What's left, we'll solve for it. So y'all, I'm gonna get us ready on our first example. I'll do a couple of these and then we're going to step into a 3-variable equation. So these will say solve by elimination. All right, so my first equation has 6x plus 5y equals negative 33. That's my first equation. My second equation is 3x minus 5y equals a negative 39. So y'all, that is my system of equations. Now this one's pretty straightforward. Notice if I add these two equations, that 5y and that negative 5y, they're going to cancel. So on this one, we're going to eliminate the y first, because it's already got what we need. Now, if these numbers hadn't matched, I may need to change my equations by multiplying, but that'll be a later example where I do that. So since these ones are already going to cancel, let's add these equations. So 6x and 3x will give me 9x. 5y, negative 5y cancel. And then negative 33 and negative 39 give me a negative 72. So y'all, if you notice, I'm down to one variable. So now I'm going to solve for x. And usually when you got one variable, there's only one move you're going to do, and that's by dividing. So since that's 9x, we'll divide by 9. That's going to equal my negative 72 divided by 9. So that we get x equals a negative 8. All right, so we now know that our x is negative 8. So we can now back substitute into either one of these two equations. So I'm going to back substitute. And y'all, I'm probably just going to pick my equation 1, 6x plus 5y equals negative 33. I'm going to put a negative 8 in for that x. So that'll give me 6 times negative 8 plus 5y equals negative 33. And y'all, they're not too bad. You just got to eliminate, solve for what's left, and then back substitute. So here we're going to multiply first. That's going to give you negative 48 plus 5y equals negative 33. I want my 5y by itself, so I'm going to add 48 to both sides. And if you notice, all these equations solving, all you're doing is counter moves to what they got. Well, that cancels, so I got 5y. 48, negative 33, give me what, a positive 15? All right, solve for the y now. By dividing by 5. And if you notice, that cancels. I get my 1y equals 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now remember, the answer has to look like an ordered pair. So the x would be first, which was negative 8. And then the 3 for the y, and be done. Now, if you want to check this answer, you can take either one of these two equations, plug in the x and y values, and see if it equals that negative 33. So I'll just use my first one. 6 times negative 8 plus 5 times positive 3 is going to equal a negative 33. All right, y'all, let's see what we get. That's negative 48 plus 15 equals negative 33. And guess what? Negative 48 and 15 is negative 33 equals negative 33. So since that's a true statement, our answer checks out. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna break up another one now. So here we go. Solving by elimination method, and I'm going to let y'all sort of help me pick a variable to eliminate on this one. So I got 11x plus 2y equals negative 13. 2x minus y equals negative 1. So notice, this one ain't straightforward like my first one. On the first one, I had a positive 5y, negative 5y. So look here, on 11x and 2x, those don't cancel. And if I wanted to change these rows, I would have to change both rows. And it looks like the smallest number I could change those into is 22. So I would have to make one of these 22 and the other one the negative 22. So I got to change both rows. But look at the y's. Here you got a negative 2y, negative 1y. So they're already opposite in signs. So if I multiply this row 2 down here by 2, that'll give me a negative 2y. That'll cancel with that positive 2y. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to eliminate the y again. Now, you don't have to pick y. You can pick x, which will probably be a little trickier, but you can do it that way. Now, to eliminate the y, I'm going to multiply the second equation by 2. So let me bring down my first equation, 11x plus 2y equals negative 13. And remember, when you multiply an equation, you got to do it to every single part of that equation. So I'm multiplying this whole equation by 2. So 2 times 2 will give me 4x. 2 times negative y gives me a negative 2y. 2 times negative 1 gives me a negative 2. So multiplying by negative 2 gave me that. But y'all notice now I got a positive 2y and a negative 2y. So those are going to cancel. So let's add these together. 11 plus 4 give me 15x. Those cancel. And negative 13 and negative 2 give me a negative 15. Oh, let me let one in real quick. Let's see. Yeah. All right, so at this point, solve for x. You know, guess what? All we got to do is divide by 15 to get this solved. So that the 15's cancel, giving you 1x. Negative divided by positive makes that a negative 1. All right, so let me catch up on my chat. All good. So y'all already got that negative 1. All right, so y'all back substitute that and see what we get for the y. Now you can use either one of these two original equations we had. So I'm probably just going to use my first equation, 11 times negative 1 plus 2y has to equal a negative 13. So we get negative 11 plus 2y equals negative 13. Add 11 to both sides. 2y equals -2. Oh, y'all got the same thing on both of these, didn't you? So I've already got some -1s popping up for the y's, it looks like. So there you go. Divide both sides by 2, and y equals -1. Whoops. Which means our final answer would be what? -1, comma, -1. So just remember, when you're doing the systems of two variables, make sure they're in order, because we do give you one in the homework that's out of order. It has the y first and the x second. So put that x first and the y second when you start solving that, okay? All right, so let me give you the steps on 3 variables, because they're a little trickier. All right, so systems of 3 variables. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, these take a little more work. We got to turn this system of 3 variables into a system of 2 variables. Once we got a system of 2 variables, we'll solve for the variable, back substitute into that, and then take both of them and substitute into the original equations. So, little trickier. And I'll usually label these like equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. But here's the trick. You got to eliminate variables. So we're going to choose a variable to eliminate. So choose any 2 equations and eliminate one of the variables. So say I started out and I chose equation 1 and equation 2, and I eliminated one of the variables. This equation that I result with will be my equation 4, which will be the first of my system of 2 variables. So that gives me one equation. Now here's the kicker. All 3 of these equations have to be used. So the second time, I got to choose the equation I didn't use. So choose the equation you didn't use. In either of the other 2 equations. So I choose this one, and then either one of these 2 equations, so say I chose 2 this time. So I'm going with 3 and 2 this time. So choose the equation you didn't use, 3, and either of the other 2 equations, which I'm using 2, to eliminate the same variable. This equation I'll call equation 5. But y'all check this out. Equation 4 and equation 5 together make up a system of 2 variables. So at that point, we will solve the system of two variables. And that'll be like we did on the first two problems. Solve that down to get one variable. Okay. So now you're going to have one variable that you know. First step is to back substitute. Back substitute into the two variable system. So once I back substitute that answer into the two variable system, solve that, that's going to give me two variables that I know. So my final step is to back substitute the two known variables into the three variable system. Because now I know two of the three. So if I plug in for two of them variables, I'll then solve for the remaining variable and have my solutions. Now, write the answer as an ordered triple. So it's just like an ordered pair. It'll be an X, a Y, and a Z. And then your last step, always check if needed. So y'all guess what? We're about to solve a system of three variables. Remember, on these first steps, all three of these have to be used. One of them has to double, but they all three have to be used, okay? All right, y'all, so here we go. This example just says solve. So I got an X plus a Y plus a Z equals 3. Now the main thing, make sure you write these down correctly, because if you get one number off or one sign, it'll mess us up. Second, I got 2X plus 5Y plus 2Z is going to equal 15. And then I got a negative X plus 9Y minus 3Z equals 29. So for three variables, you need three equations. So I will call this 1, 2, and 3. So y'all, the first thing we want to figure out is which variable we want to eliminate. And if I'm looking at these, what do y'all think? What variable can we eliminate the easiest? So Raven says X and I say X. Because right off the bat, if I add row 1 and row 3, X and a negative X will cancel. So that'll give me my fourth equation. And then I can multiply this row by 2 the next time. And that negative 2 and 2X will cancel the X. So that's probably the easiest. You have to do a lot of changing to do the Y's or the Z's, okay? So we're going to eliminate our X first. So first, I'm going to add 1 and 3. And I don't have to change anything to do that. So I'm going to bring down my X plus Y plus Z equals 3. negative x plus 9y minus 3z equals 29. So look at that. Good job. The x's cancel. 9 and 1 give me 10y. 1 and negative 3 give me negative 2z. 3 and 29 give me 32. That will now be our equation 4. Now remember, equation 4 is my first equation of my two variables, okay? All right, so we just used row 1 and 3. So now we have to use row 2. Now, y'all, I'm looking at the x and the negative x. Since this is already negative, what we're going to do is multiply row 3 by 2 and then add that to row 2. So I'm going to multiply 3 by 2. Then I'm going to add 2 and 3. Okay. So let me bring down 2. It's already good. 2x plus 5y plus 2z equals 15. Now remember, since we're multiplying row 3 by 2, everything in there has to be multiplied by that 2. So 2 times negative x gives me negative 2x. 2 times 9 is 18y. 2 times negative 3 is a negative 6z. And then 2 times 29 gives me 58. When we're done, this will be our row 5. And y'all look at that. X's cancel. 5 and 18 give me 23y. 2 and negative 6 give me negative 4z. And then what's that? 15 and 58 looks like 73. All right, guess what? Y and z here, y and z here. That's why you have to eliminate the same variable each time to get these two new equations. So now let's bring these down. 10y minus 2z equals 32. 23y minus 4z equals 73. So we now have a system of two variables like the first two problems we did. So let me ask y'all now, which variable would y'all eliminate this time? Oh, good job. Y'all picking what I would pick. I would definitely pick the z. Because that 23 and that 10, that'd be hard to get them both to be the same number. But since that's negative 4z and that's negative 2, we can multiply the top equation by negative 2 to make that a 4. That'll cancel with that negative 4. So y'all, what I'm going to do, multiply. So remember, that's still what? 4 and 5. So I'm going to multiply 4 by negative 2. Then I'm going to add them together. So let's multiply 4 by negative 2. That's going to give me negative 20y. Positive 4, because negative times negative makes that a positive 4z. And then negative 2 times 32 is a negative 64. Now bring down this row. 23y minus 4z equals 73. So by y'all picking the z, I only had to change one row. If y'all would have picked that y, we would have had to change 2 rows, okay? All right, y'all, let's see. 23 negative 20 give me 3y. The z's cancel. 73 and negative 64. What's that, 9? All right, so all for the y now by dividing both sides by 3. And we get y equals 3. All right, so Valencia's on top of us, all righty. So now I'm going to go up and back substitute. Now you got to back substitute the 3 into one of these two equations so that we can get what the z equals. Once we got the y and the z, then we'll plug them into one of these 3 to get the x. So y'all, I'm just going to pick that first one, which is 10 times my y, which is 3, minus 2z equals 32. I'm going to get 30 minus 2z equals 32. So let's see. So y'all got z equals -1. So let me catch up with y'all. I'm going to subtract 30. So negative 2z equals 2. So good job, because I'm going to divide by -2. And I definitely get z is a -1. So good job. So now, Valencia, we're going to back substitute -1 and 3. So y'all, let me pull this down just a little bit. We're going to back substitute 3 and -1. I'd probably pick that first equation, which was x plus y plus z equals 3. So x was not known, y was 3, z was -1, and all that has to equal a positive 3. All right, so let's see. First thing, we got like terms on this side. So that'll give me x plus 2 equals 3. And y'all, final step, subtract 2. And look at that, x equals 1. So if we write that answer, it'll be 1 for x, 3 for y, -1 for z. Now, up here we had x plus y plus z has to equal 3. Well, 1 plus 3 is 4, minus 1 is 3. So when you check these answers, they will work for us, okay? So y'all, the trick is turning these 3 system equations into the system of 2 variables. Once we got the 2 variables, we can then solve and then back substitute first into the 2 system, then back substitute into the 3 variable system. All right, so I got plenty of these for you. So all right, y'all, so let me think which one I want now. All right, so let me try this one. 7x minus y plus z equals 1. 3x plus 2y minus 3z is going to equal -23. X minus 3y plus 2z equals 19. So remember, that's my equation 1, equation 2, equation 3. So y'all on y'all. And I don't care which one you pick, we can eliminate them using any of these. But which variable do y'all want to eliminate? So X, Y's, or Z's. So Greg, we're going to pick Y then. So we're going to eliminate the Y. I'm with y'all. That is probably the easiest. Z might not be too hard. But all of them, you're going to have to change one or the other, okay? So right off the bat, we're going to eliminate Y's, but the Y's don't eliminate each other. So what I'm going to do is take row 1 and row 2. Since row 2 has a 2Y and row 1 has a negative Y, I'm going to multiply row 1 by 2 so that that becomes a negative 2Y. So I'm going to multiply 1 by 2. So if we take row 1 and multiply by 2, 2 times 7 gives me 14x. 2 times negative y gives me negative 2y. 2 times z gives me a 2z. And then 2 times 1 gives me 2. Now remember, we can bring 2. Okay, so I'm going to multiply 1 by 2, then add to row 2. So let me bring row 2 down, which was 3x plus 2y minus 3z equaled a negative 23. So that was 1 and 2. So that actually worked. So I got 17x. The y's cancel. 2 and negative 3 give me a negative 1z. Negative 23 and 2 give us what? A negative 21. That is now our equation 4. All right, so guess what? We used row 1 and 2. So now we got to use row 3 no matter what. So row 3 is a negative 3y. I'm thinking the easiest thing to do to that would be to take row 1 and multiply it by a negative 3. Because that negative 3 times that negative y will make that a positive 3y. So I'm going to multiply 1 by negative 3, then add to row 3. That way I've used all 3 rows like we needed. So y'all, let's start out by multiplying row 1. So we'll bring our new row 1 down here by negative 3. So remember that negative is changing all the signs also. So that'll give me a negative 21x, positive 3y, negative 3z, and then 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Then bring down row 3, which is x minus 3y plus 2z equals 19. Y'all, once we add that, we'll have our row 5, which is the second of the 2 variables. All right, so let's see what's happening. Negative 21 and 1 give us what? A negative 20x. The y's cancel. Negative 3 and 2 give me a negative 1z. 19 and negative 3 give me 16. So now we can bring down 4 and 5. So y'all, here's the question. We now have a system of 2 variables with 2 equations. Which variable looks easier to y'all to eliminate on this one? And I'm really hoping y'all don't pick one of those. Good job, Clara, because I would hate to do them X's because 20 and 17, woo, that's going to be a big number to make on that, okay? For the Z's are pretty close, but it looks like all I got to do is multiply one of these by negative to change the sign. So how about this? I'm going to multiply. So which one y'all want me to multiply by the negative? I can do 4 or 5. Four, that's probably what I'd pick because that big old negative 20. I hate that sitting there. So I'm going to multiply. Oh, you said 4. Which one? 4? I'm going to do 4 then. So let's do 4. Multiply 4 by negative 1. Then add 2 5. Okay. So here we go. If we take row 4, multiply by negative 1, all that negative 1's doing is changing all the signs. So 4 now becomes negative 17x plus a z equals positive 21. Row 5 is negative 20x minus z equals 16. All right, so I guess it worked, right? The z's look like they cancel right out. So let's see what we get. That's what a negative 37x. 21 and 16 is a positive 37. So good job, G. There, you're perfect now. So that means x is. So y'all are dividing y'all stuff by that negative 37. And y'all look at that. X is a negative 1. So good job, y'all. Right. I got to keep watching my chat closer because y'all done beat me to that. All right, y'all. So now you know what that means. It's time to back substitute. So we got to take that negative 1 into one of these two equations for my x. So also, I'll tell you a little trick. If you want to use a positive z, you can use this equation. You can use either of these two or these two, as long as it's just got 2 variables in it, okay? So I'm going to pick the one I circled. That's going to give me negative 17 times x, which is negative 1, plus a z equals 21. All right, negative times negative makes that a positive 17 plus z equals 21. And y'all guess what? I'm going to subtract 17 and be done with that. So I get z equals, oh, what is that, 4? So x is negative 1, z is 4. Let me back substitute for the last time. So remember, I got to take this negative 1 and 4 and plug it into one of these 3 to get the y value. All right, so let me see. Oh, any of those don't matter. So I'll just use the third one this time. X, which is negative 1 minus 3y plus 2 times z, which is 4. All that has to equal 19. All right, so I'm going to multiply that first. So I got negative 1 minus 3y plus 2 times 4 is 8. That's going to equal 19. So y'all remember, since I'm doing the equation, I got like terms over here. Add that -1 and 8, that'll give you 7 minus 3y equals 19. So now it's not too bad. Well, subtract 7. -3y equals 12. And then look at that. Divide by -3. So then I get y equals a -4. So remember, this is an ordered triple again. So the x goes first, -1. The y was -4. The z was a +4. So let me ask you this. Any of y'all brought a calculator with you? All right, so if y'all got your calculator, I'm going to switch to my calculator and show you how you can do these with what we call a matrix. Now, this matrix I'm showing you is different than the programs I sent you. The programs I sent you in your email, if you download them into the calculator, they're a lot quicker than what I'm about to show you. But you got to have the programs in order to do that. So let me go down here and get my calculator. All right, so y'all should be seeing my calculator screen. So the first step on this is to put the matrix into your calculator. And I'm going to do the same problem I just did, okay, with the 7x minus y plus z. So first thing you do to get to if you notice on the left side, under the math button, there's an x -1 button. Well, above that, it says matrix and it's blue. So since matrix is in blue, you got to hit the second button and then that x -1 button, and it'll pull up names math edit. Now, we got to edit it. So I'm going to arrow over to edit. And y'all, since I've already got one in there for A from another class, I'm going to arrow down and let B be my matrix. So my matrix is going to be B. Now, if y'all want to, if you don't have nothing in A, you can just go straight to A. All right. So once you highlight 1 or 2 or whatever, hit enter. So the first thing it blinks on, those two numbers up there, where the 1 times 1 is, that is for the rows times the columns. How many rows do we have? And then how many columns do we have? So y'all, we got what, 3 equations? So that would be 3 rows, enter. And then it goes to the second number where the 1 is. I have 4 columns. I got the X, the Y, the Z column, and then my answer column. So that's 4. So if you got 3 variables, it's going to be a 3 by 4. If you got 2 variables, it'll be a 2 by 3, okay? Now watch what happens when I hit enter. Look at that. It made enough spaces up here for me to put in all my numbers. Now, all we do is put in the numbers. We do not put in the letters because the calculator knows that the first column is your X's, second one's your Y's, and so on. So what we have on that one? We had 7x, so I would do 7, enter, and it put a 7 there. Negative y would be -1, enter. I had 1z, so that would be 1, enter. And then that equaled 1, so I put 1, enter. Now I go to my next row. I had a 3x, so 3, enter. 2y would be 2, enter. -3z would be -3, enter. And then the answer was -23, enter. So 2 rows in, 1 more to go. So I had 1x, so 1, enter. -3y, so -3, enter. 2z would be 2, enter. And then that answer was 19, enter. So y'all check this out. We now have matrix B in the calculator is this problem we're doing now. So now you quit by hitting second quit. So now here's the thing. My matrix B in my calculator is the problem we're on. So now I need to get the calculator to solve it for us. So to solve it, we go back to the matrix operations. So we hit second, x -1 to bring up the matrix stuff. This time we want to go to the math. When you go to math, that's the stuff that solves it. Once you highlight math, you're going to arrow down until you find RREF. So arrow down, not REF, you want RREF. So that's reduced row form. So RREF, once you got it highlighted, you're going to hit enter. It's going to bring RREF on the screen. So y'all guess what? Now I need to get the matrix I just made. So guess what? To get that matrix for the 3rd time, I need to go to the matrix stuff by hitting second, x -1. Now, if y'all had y'all's in A at this point, since one's highlighted, you would hit enter. But remember, I put mine in B, so I would have to arrow down and highlight 2. Once the 2's highlighted, that's the matrix I just made. I hit enter. And on the screen, it now says, we're going to reduce the row form of this matrix B. So y'all, the magic comes when I hit enter. Now, y'all remember my answer a while ago, right? So on the right side, the last column is the answers. X, Y will be the middle number, Z will be the bottom one. So remember a while ago, we got a -1, -4, and a +4. So you got it like that, huh? Now we'll say, the program I sent earlier, once y'all get them loaded up, I'll show y'all how to use that. I'll send out a video showing y'all how to use that too, okay? So that's all you got to do on the calculator. Just punch them numbers in and then start solving. All right, y'all, let me turn this paper over, getting curly. All right, y'all, let me find this one here. All right, y'all, here we go. 3x plus 3y plus z equals 0. X minus 3y plus 2z is going to equal negative 25. 8x minus 2y plus 3z is going to equal negative 51. So that would be 1, 2, and 3. And I'll do this one on my calculator program that I'm sending you so that y'all can sort of see it. I won't be able to screen share it like I do. I'll just have to put my calculator under here and make you look at it that way, okay? But I think I can get it where it ain't as glaring. So first we're going to do it by hand. So y'all, the question of the day. Which variable do y'all want to eliminate? So it looks like a y, so I'm going to eliminate the y. Also, that's a good choice because 1 and 2 right off the bat cancel the y, and then we'll just have to figure out what to do with that negative 2 one, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is add 1 and 2. So that was 3x plus 3y plus z equals 0. X minus 3y plus 2z equals negative 25. So that was what, 1 and 2. And it was nice on that one because we didn't have to change nothing. And then y's are gone. So let's see what we get. 3 and 1 is 4x. Z and 2z is 3z. 0 and negative 25 is a negative 25. So I'm going to let that be our equation 4. All right, so we used 1 and 2. So now we got to use 3. So y'all guess what? No, I'm going to pick 1 and 3 because this one's positive and that one's negative. So the smallest number we can make that 2 and 3 into would be what? So what do y'all got? 6. So that's perfect. Almost like a least common denominator, right? So we got to make both of them have a 6. So to do that, we're going to multiply 1 by 2. We'll multiply row 3. So that was row 1 by 2, multiply 3 by 3. So this has got to be 2 to make that a 6. This one a 3 to make that a negative 6, okay? So here we go. We're going to multiply row 1 first. My new row 1 multiplied by 2 gives me 6x plus 6y plus 2z equals 0. My new row 3 multiplied by 3 gives me 24x minus 6y plus 9z equals, let's see, what's that? Negative 51 times 3. Getting what? Negative 153. All right, so we should now be able to add them and get rid of the y's for our row 5. So y'all, let's see what we get. That's 30x's. 2 and 9 give me 11z, and that's going to equal a negative 153. All right, so let's bring over row 4 and row 5 now. 4x plus 3z equals negative 25. 30x plus 11z equals negative 153. So y'all know the question of the day. Ooh, which one of them two variables do you want to get rid of? And I'll tell you a trick. We got to change both rows. So I think that would be really big numbers with that 30. So I'm just going to change both of these. Now remember, we got to multiply one of those by negative. And it looks like the smallest number 3 and 11 to go into would be 33. So I'm going to eliminate the z this time. So to do that, I'm going to multiply row 1 by 11, or multiply 4 by 11. I'm going to multiply this row by a negative 3. So here we go. Multiplying that by 11. 4 times 11 is 44 x's. 3 times 11 is 33z. Woo, let's see what that's giving me. Negative 25 times 11, negative 275. That's my new row 4. Row 5, we have to multiply by negative 3, we said. So that give me negative 90x, negative 33z. Whoa, now here's a big number. Negative 153 times negative 3 is going to give me 459 for my new row 5. All right, so the main thing is the z's cancel. Now, y'all, we could have done this one. I'd have probably used 60 because 4 and 30 both go into 60. So you could have made that one 60, multiply about 2 and 15. All right, so let's see what we get. Negative 90 plus 44 gives me negative 46 x's. That's going to be equal to negative 275 plus 459, which is 184. All right, solve for the x by dividing by that negative 46. It all looks like x will be a negative something. And it is what, a negative 4. So now we know what that is. We're going to back substitute. So let me pull that up to here. I got to go into one of these two equations. So let's say I'm going to do the equation 4 because it's smaller. So 4 times x, which is negative 4, plus 3z equals negative 25. So negative 16 plus 3z equals negative 25. All right, y'all, let's see what we're going to do. We're going to add 16. I now have 3z equals negative 9 divided by 3. So that z is now a negative 3. I now know the x and the z. So now for the last time, I'm going to substitute them two answers into probably my top equation. So that is 3 times x, which is negative 4, plus 3y. Z is negative 3. All that has to equal 0. All right, so first we would multiply. So negative 12 plus 3y minus 3 equals 0. Add those like terms. So negative 12 and negative 3 give me negative 15 plus 3y equals 0. All right, now what? Add our 15. So 3y equals 15, and then y'all know the rest. Divide by 3 and be done. So that'll be 3y divided by 3 equals 15 divided by 3, so that y equals 5. So remember, x was negative 4, y was 5, z was negative 3. So y'all, let me fix my screen so that y'all can see this. Let me see if I turn off this light here. All right, so what's these programs I sent you? You're going to be able to hit it. They're going to be in this program button when you program them here. So you're going to hit program. So this has 3 variables. Now I didn't send you everything, but I did send you the Kramer 2x does 2 variables like the first couple problems. Kramer 3x does the 3 variables. So I would hit enter on that and then enter again. So what it does, it's going to go A, B, C, D. It wants the numbers of the first row. Then it'll do A, B, C, D again for the next row, and then A, B, C, D for the last row. So watch this. My first row, I had a 3 for the X, enter. 3 for the B, enter. 1 Z, enter. 0 for the answer, enter. Then it goes to the next row. 1 enter for the X, negative 3 for the Y. Now notice I'm not putting any letters in on this either, okay? 2 for the Z, negative 25 for the answer. Then it asks you for the A, B, C, D for the last row, which was 8X, so 8, negative 2 for the Y, 3 for the Z, negative 51 for that answer. Now, y'all, here's the difference on these programs. While ago, I had to, after I put in all my numbers, I had to go back and go to math, tell it to do the RREF, and then I had to go back and grab the matrix. Here's why you're going to love this program, because guess what? When I hit enter, I'm done. And look at that. It's telling me X is negative 4, Y is 5, Z is negative 3, which is the answers we got right there. So download them programs, because these things make life a little bit easier than trying to do that matrix on here, okay? All right. So you got it like that. All right, y'all. So I'm going to get into a problem or two out of 3-5. And instead of, let me see which one I want to do. So I'm going to do this number 4 and number 5 here. So number 4 says, the sum of 3 numbers is 58. So remember, this is 3.5. 3.6, 3.6. And this is applications or solving applied problems. So y'all can't even see my page. There we go. 3.6, solving applied problems. So the trick on this is translating what these sentences are saying. Once you got the sentences translated, then we can solve them, okay? By hand, program, or matrix. So we got to figure out what this is. The sum of three numbers is 58. So remember, sum means what? Addition. So they're just telling me that three numbers add up to get 58. So I'm going to put an x plus y plus z equals 58. So remember, that's my x column, my y column, my z column, my answer column. But check this out. This one says for my second equation, the difference of the largest number and the smallest number is 52. So the biggest number is going to be my x column. My smallest number, I'm going to put in the z column, which will be what? And it says the difference of the largest and the smallest. So that means difference would be subtraction. And the answer would be 52. So remember, my largest number, my middle number, my smallest. Now, if you're punching this on the matrix, there's no y there. So what would y'all put on the matrix for that number? Any guesses? Perfect. 0. So anytime you don't have a variable, it's definitely got to be a 0. Good job. Now watch this one. The sum of the two smaller numbers is 13. So remember, that's my largest number. So my two smallest would be the y and the z. And it's telling me they add up to 13. So that'll be a y plus z equals 13. Which means, once again, for that x, you're going to have to put a 0 there. So now notice what they want. The three numbers from largest to smallest. Well, that's what order I got them in. Remember, I put my large number, my middle number, and then my small number. So guess what? The story of the day wants to know, which variable would y'all eliminate? Someone sort of help y'all out on this one. I would probably eliminate the x's because that would give me one of my equations. Good job. And this one don't even have an x, so it would automatically become my equation 5, okay? So I got equation 1, equation 2, equation 3. So let's eliminate the x. Now another good one would have been maybe the y's, because if you get rid of the y's, this one don't have a y, so it would have been fairly quick too. Now, if I get rid of the x, I got to multiply one of these rows by a negative. So what I'm going to do is multiply. I'm probably going to multiply 2 by -1 to get rid of them x's. So let me bring 1 down first. 1 was x plus y plus z equals 58. Now row 2, when you multiply by negative, is going to change all the signs. So you're going to have a negative x, positive z equal a negative 52. This will give us equation 4. But guess what? Valencia, those x's cancel. So I get a 1y. 1 and 1 give me 2z. 58 minus 52, give me 6. Now, what's nice on this one? Row 3 don't even have an x to eliminate. So row 3 automatically becomes equation 5. So let me write that. Equation 3 automatically becomes 5. We'll make that a 3. automatically becomes 5 since it has no x variable. So my two equations are going to be y plus 2z equals 6. Y plus z equals 13. That is our 4 and our 5. So pick a variable, and one of these is a lot easier than the other. So what do we want to eliminate now? Hopefully y'all thinking the y. Because the y, all I got to do is make one of these rows negative. If I had to do the z, I would have to make these probably both a 2 of something, okay? So to do this, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply 5 by a -1. So 4 stays the same. 4 is going to be y plus 2z equals 6. 5, if we multiply by negative, makes everything negative. So I get negative y minus z equals negative 13. So watch the magic y'all just did. The y's cancel. 2z minus 1z is a 1z. 6 and negative 13 give me a -7. So y'all look at that. The z is already solved for now. I know what z is, so I can come up here and use the z to get the y. And then I can also use the z to get the x because they're missing stuff, okay? So let me back substitute. All right, so let me go up here to back substitute. So I'm going to back substitute into 3 first and get that y right there. So y plus z, which is the -7, equals 13. Add 7 to both sides. Y equals 20. So let's see. 20 and -7 equal 13, and 13 equals 13. So now I need to get my x. So you can come up here with that, but that's 3 variables. This one, since I know the z, I'm going to get this one. So I'm going to find x right here. So my last back substitute. But y'all remember, you can use either of these equations that has the x. But this one said x minus z, which is a -7, equals 52. So double negative makes that a positive. So x plus 7 equals 52. So remember, when you're subtracting and putting in a negative number, basically it's going to become positive. Now solve that by subtracting 7. And let's see, 52 minus 7 is what, 45? Now remember, it said, write my answer from largest to smallest. My largest number was 45. My middle number, let's see, this was -7 and that is 20. So 20 would come next. My smallest number would be -7. But y'all guess what? Since this is large number, middle number, smallest number, these answers will be large number, middle number, small number. And watch this. 45 plus 20 is 65, plus that -7. 65 and -7 equal 58. So these ain't bad, and guess what? I'll show you the program real quick. So on that one, I had a 1 for A, 1 for Y, 1 for Z, 58. Then I had a 1 for the X, 0 for the Y, -1 for Z, 52, Then I had a 0 for the X, 1 for the Y, 1 for the Z. That equals 13. My three numbers are 45, 20, -7, which is what we got there. So y'all gonna love that when y'all get to play with that program, okay? All right, y'all, so I'm gonna do one more. So y'all hang with me for one more problem. And I wanted to give y'all a taste of two of these word problems before I left y'all out. All right, so notice this one. By eating 1 egg, 1 cupcake, 1 slice of pizza, the child consumes 301 milligrams of cholesterol. So let me show you how I would set this up, and then I'll have to let y'all go because my computer is about to die. So what I would do is let eggs be my X's, cupcakes be my Y's, pizza, and then the milligrams of cholesterol for the answer. So this one said 1 egg, 1 cupcake, 1 pizza was 301. So remember, that would be like an X plus a Y plus a Z equals 301. Then it says 3 cupcakes. So remember, 3 cupcakes would be 3Y, and 4 pizza, that'll be my Z's. The child has 96 milligrams. Now this one says 3 eggs, which will be my X's. 1 cupcake, which will be my Y. That one is going to equal 836. So this is sort of works out like the one I just did. You're going to have to use a 0 here and a 0 here when you solve that. That'll be like 1, 2, and 3. So y'all, on that one, it's all pretty much like one with the